Welcome to Land of the Bible. I'm David Sussman, your personal guide here in the land of Israel. And in this week's episode, we are going to discover ancient Jerusalem, the city of David. I am now standing on the rooftop of the observation deck here in the city of David. And from this vantage point, one has a 360-degree view of the entire surrounding area. Behind me and to the left, in the direction of the east, you have the Mount of Olives and the oldest active Jewish cemetery in the entire world, and the known location of one of the kings of Israel during the First Temple period and three of the prophets. To the south, the Armona-Netziv Ridge, and the area that Abraham would have arrived traveling from Beersheba after being given the commandment to offer his most beloved son, Isaac, as a sacrifice. Now we know the end of the story. Abraham does not sacrifice Isaac, but rather God provides a ram to be sacrificed in his stead. To the west, you have what is known today as Mount Zion and what many people believe to be the burial place of King David. However, most importantly is what we have behind me now. In the direction of the north, we have the old city walls of today and the Temple Mount, the location that the first and second temples were built, and where many of us want to see the third temple being built soon. Now, one question should be popping in everybody's mind. If we're standing in ancient Jerusalem and looking at the old city walls of today, then ancient Jerusalem isn't in the same location as the old city. And you know what? You're absolutely correct for thinking that. However, this was unknown until 1867. It was in this year that Queen Victoria hires Captain Charles Warren to try and locate here in Jerusalem the sacred artifacts of the temple, and in particular, that of the Ark of the Covenant. However, when he arrives here, the Turkish government, the Ottoman Empire, says absolutely not. No one will be digging on the Temple Mount. So he scouts out locations around the area. And as he walks down the slopes into the Kidron Valley, slightly to the south, he discovers a pool of water. Wanting to find its source, he finds himself in a long, dark tunnel with torch in hand. And suddenly, he starts to feel a breeze upon his face. And that's when he notices this large shaft rising into the mountain. So he climbs up the shaft, torch in hand. And when he gets to the top, he notices foundations of an ancient fortress and artifacts dating back thousands of years. This surprising discovery by Charles Warren, coupled with his incredible knowledge of the Bible, he comes up with a brand new theory. That is, that ancient Jerusalem, the city of David, is located outside of the old city walls of today. People thought he was crazy, but over the last 150 years, this is the most excavated site in the entire world. And archaeologists have proven, Charles Warren correct, that in fact, this is the city of David.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
Now follow me as we explore one of archaeologists' greatest discoveries of the 21st century, King David's palace. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that this is one of the most humbling experiences of my life because I am standing right now on the foundation, the floor of King David's palace. But just 12 years ago, all of this was covered by dirt. It was in 2005 that Dr. Eilat Mazar, a world-renowned archaeologist from a family of world-renowned archaeologists, went into the Department of Antiquity and demanded the right to excavate right here. She said, I know, we will find King David's palace. They said, how? She said, well, for one, where's a king gonna build his palace? At the top of the hill. We are now at the top of the hill of King David's city. Second, a Phoenician capital. You can see it right over there, a replica of it at least. The original is in the Israel Museum. A Phoenician capital was discovered here many years earlier by Kathleen Kenyon. To Eilat Mazar, this was obvious because right here in the second book of Samuel, chapter 5, verse 11, it talks about how Hiram, the king of Tyre in Phoenicia, sent a delegation to David with cedar wood and carpenters and stonemasons, and they built for David a palace. Third, just below us, in an area known as Area G, we have found a neighborhood of incredible wealth. And who's gonna live next to the palace of the king? The wealthy people, the generals, the advisors, the aristocratic population of the city. This intrigued the Department of Antiquity enough that they gave her the right, along with the Hebrew University, to dig in this location. During those excavations, they discovered some massive walls, one here to the north and another one over there to the east. This confirmed that there was a monumental structure here. But from what time period? They dug down deeper and they looked into the walls, into the stones, and they discovered pieces of pottery that dated to the 10th century BCE, to the time of King David. This was incredible. All signs point to the fact that this is the location of King David's palace. But wait, it gets even better. This is incredible. Eilat Mazar sifting through the dirt and she finds a layer of ash. And as she puts her hands in those ash, to that ash, she pulls out 2 clay seals. Now, what were clay seals used for in those days? There was no internet, there was no way of sending a secure message. They would write their notes, their messages on a piece of parchment, wrap it up with some string, and then seal it with a clay impression from a ring that would have their name on it. Well, you know whose names were on these seals? Well, we can find out if we open up our Bible to chapter 38 of Jeremiah, where it talks about his advisors telling them of Jeremiah's prophecy to the people, that they should lay down their arms, that they should surrender. And they tell the king that this isn't good. We need to execute Jeremiah. He's breaking the will of the people. The king says, I can't find any wrong in what you're saying. Do what you want with him. Well, they don't kill Jeremiah. They send him into a dungeon, into a pit, where he can hear the destruction of Jerusalem up above. The names on these 2 seals is none other than Gedaliah, son of Pashur, and Yehuchal, son of Shelemiah, 2 of the 4 advisors who prophesied, or at least advised, that the king put Jeremiah to death. An unbelievable discovery found right here in King David's palace. Why does King David want to move his capital and palace from Hebron, where he had been ruling for the last 7.5 years, to Jerusalem in the first place? Well, there are 4 main reasons. First and foremost, he knew this was the place that Abraham brought his son Isaac to offer as a sacrifice, as well as the location where Jacob has his dream of the ladder, with the angels coming down and the angels going up, showing us that this is the interface between heaven and earth. And the next 3 reasons: location, location, location. You see, Jerusalem is more centrally located to the rest of the tribes of Israel than Hebron is, as well as that it is in between the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, showing that King David is showing no favoritism to his own tribe, the tribe of Judah. This unifies the 12 tribes of Israel under the rulership of King David for the first time. Now, we've been talking about King David a whole lot, that this next little bit of information might come as a shock to you. However, up until 1993, there was no evidence of King David's existence outside of the Bible. And then in 1993, in an excavation up in the northern part of Israel at a site called Tel Dan, they discovered a stone that dated to the 9th century BCE, before the Common Era, and inscribed on it, it said, "I have defeated the king of Judah from the house of David." This proves King David's existence and his dynastic line.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
I am now standing in the ancient water system of the Jebusite city that was built over 4,000 years ago. It's so amazing to look at the walls here and still be able to see the chisel marks that were left behind. So why did they build this tunnel? Well, you see, the Gihon Spring, the water source, the life force of this city, is located down below towards the bottom of the valley, whereas the walls were built on high, utilizing the slopes of the mountain as part of the fortifications. So before this tunnel was constructed, if someone wanted to access the water supply, they had to leave the city, leaving themselves vulnerable to attack from an enemy or maybe a wild beast. Once the tunnel is constructed, people can walk safely underground to the water source to collect their water. Now let's walk through the tunnel and see one of the locations where they collected that water. This section of the Canaanite tunnel has the famous Warren Shaft. It was from here in 1867 that Charles Warren climbed up and discovered that this was, in fact, ancient Jerusalem. Also, this is where the Canaanites came down through the tunnel to retrieve water from. I can hear the Gihon Spring now, and before it was diverted by Hizkiyahu, King Hezekiah, in the year 700 BCE, the water used to fill up this shaft. So people could come here and just drop their bucket, fill it up with water, and bring it back to their families for cooking, bathing, drinking. But if they didn't want to get their water here, they could continue through the tunnel to a fortress that surrounded a pool of water. Let's go there now and meet with somebody from the city of David. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the distinct pleasure of being joined right now by Honorina of the city of David. Honorina, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, David, and thank you for coming to the city of David, the most important place in the world. Not because we think so, but because the Bible says so.
You know, that's really my first question. Why is the city of David so important to so many people? Religious people, historians, everybody wants to come here to the city of David.
Well, David, with all due respect, if I would tell you to tear out every page in the Bible that speaks about Jerusalem, would you do that?
I don't think there'd be very much left.
Exactly, because all the stories that mention Jerusalem happened right here where we're standing right now, especially right where we're standing at the Gihon Spring. This is the place where Solomon got anointed.
Wow, right here, King Solomon is anointed king over Israel.
If you read 2 Samuel, you see David tells Nathan the prophet to bring Solomon right here to the Gihon Spring to anoint him here. In fact, all the kings of Israel were anointed. We are standing at the place of anointing.
Wow, that is just incredible. Let me ask you, There are many theories out there how King David was able to conquer a city with such incredible fortifications. I mean, the walls of the Jebusite city were really massive. What are some of the predominant theories, or the most predominant theory, how it's possible that King David conquered such a glorious city?
That obviously also explains why after a 300-year conquest by Joshua, this was one of the last cities being taken, because it was so difficult to take. So when I ask the people, what do we know? How do we know? How did David take the city? What is written in the Bible? What is the answer that they usually give me? They and they are, because actually nothing is really written. It's a very cryptic episode. And when we go into it, we read that David says, "He who touches the pipe." That's the only thing that is written. Why? Because David won't tell the next king how he took the city, because then if he writes it down, the next king will come and also take the city.
Oh, I see.
So let's talk about the word sino, a very difficult word in Hebrew, in ancient Hebrew. We use it today as pipe, but if you go into the biblical context of it, very difficult to explain. Until Charles Warren came and he discovered the city and he saw the fissure through which he entered the city, we realized, but that is the way that David took the city. Actually, that Joab took the city when David told him how to. So here we stand with the world of the Bible, a cryptic episode that we don't understand, and when archaeology comes, it fills up the gap and we get the complete picture.
Wow, that is just absolutely amazing. That's when Charles Warren went up that shaft and realized that ancient Jerusalem was outside of the walls of modern day Old City today.
That's when he realized that he just rediscovered the ancient Jerusalem.
Wow, incredible. So continue. So when he discovered that, what did the biblical scholars, what conclusion did they come with of how King David entered the city?
Okay, very difficult in archaeology to really say how it happened. We have a few theories. This was the most probable one because it was inside the tower. Obviously, Joab then had to run through the tunnel that we just came through, and then he could open at the water gate, he could open up the gates. There is also a Canaanite tunnel where we also know David was a shepherd boy. He was around this place before, so he knew the ins and outs of the city as well. And that's another option that we think that he could have taken the city.
Very interesting. It's all so fascinating. Just walking through here, you really are walking through the footsteps of our shared grandparents, the spiritual foundations of the Western world. It's really incredible.
And this is what people can come and do. They can come again and walk the ancient paths as it was written in the Bible.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and definitely I know our viewers at home appreciate it too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are now standing outside the entranceway of Hezekiah's tunnel, which was dug out 2,700 years ago. Now let's set the stage to understand why he goes through the trouble of carving out the tunnel in the first place. So the northern 10 tribes of Israel have already rebelled against the mighty Assyrian Empire. And as a result, the Assyrians bring their army and completely destroy those northern 10 tribes and scatter the survivors throughout their entire empire. And this is where we get the notion of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Just think about that for a minute. After 2,700 years, how many of those lost 10 tribes have descendants that are living today and are Jewish and don't even realize it? Now, King Hezekiah comes up with the same idea that he too is going to rebel against the Assyrians. This can mean only one thing: war. So King Hezekiah needs to prepare. First, he builds a wall, a new wall around the expanded Jerusalem, which is known as the Broad Wall. You can see a section of it today in the Jewish quarter of the Old City. And then he diverts the water of the Gihon Spring, which, remember, is outside the city walls. And he thinks to himself, why should Sennacherib, the king of the Assyrian Empire, find water here? So he diverts the water. How? He digs a 530-meter tunnel through the entire mountain, bring the water to the western side of the city. How does he do this? Well, it tells us that he forms two teams, one to come from the east and one to come from the west, and that they'll meet somewhere in the middle. Now fast forward, the end of the 19th century. Some boys are playing in the water near the entranceway or the exits of the tunnel, and they discover a plaque. And on that plaque is inscribed in ancient Hebrew, "This is a glorious day, a remarkable day, the day that these two teams met and the waters of the Gihon Spring were diverted." It's incredible to come here again and see the Bible come to life, but also to prove its historical accuracy. And there's no better place to do that than right here at the City of David and Hezekiah's tunnel. So now come with me as we explore Hezekiah's water system here in the City of David.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
I'm now standing above the Gihon Spring. Literally, the water is coming out of the mountain right here. I'm about to walk into Hezekiah's tunnel system where it's completely pitch black. So I have my flashlight, I put my sandals on, and I'm about to begin the best part of this tour. So come on, come with me. That was awesome, to be able to walk through the tunnel that Hezekiah built 2,700 years ago, to feel the rushing water all around my feet and my leg. It was really an incredible experience. And you know what's awesome? Is seeing the kids loving coming here, learning about the Bible, experiencing it. It's a highlight for most kids when they come here, is visiting the City of David and walking through that water tunnel. And now we're standing here at the end of the water system. Hezekiah would have built an enormous pool here to collect all of that water. However, the stones we see here are not from his time, because we know that the first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. And this area was only reconstructed later on by King Herod. And we know it was King Herod. How? Well, the stairs leading down into this pool, which by the way was the size of 2 Olympic swimming pools. And these stairs are the same style as the stairs that we see leading up to the Temple Mount. And the triple gates, the entranceway that Jews would have used to walk on and into the temple. Absolutely incredible. You could come here and visit today and actually stand on those stairs, sit on those stairs. So we know King Herod builds this pool area, and we know that it's used so that the citizens of Jerusalem could come and collect water. But on the 3 festival holidays in Jerusalem, Passover, Shavuot, where the Jews received the Torah, and of course, Sukkot, where the Jews celebrate the Exodus by sitting in tabernacles and feasting, this would have turned into a mikvah, a ritual bath. a purifying bath. Everyone, no matter rich or poor, had to go to the mikveh to purify themselves in order to ascend to the temple. Now, we know that the first temple was destroyed because of the injustice that existed here. Jeremiah tells us in his prophecy. What was that injustice? It was the injustice of the way people treated one another, especially the rich against the poor. There was even poor Jews who were slaves to the wealthier Jews. This is the injustice that he's talking about. And now we're here at this mikveh and we're reminded that in the eyes of God, we are all one. We are equal. We are the same. The mikveh has this unifying power, and it's a reminder to all of us. Are we doing the right thing by our neighbors, by our family, and with ourselves? Coming up next time on Land of the Bible, we are going to explore the sights, sounds, and tastes of the Machane Yehuda Marketplace, otherwise known as the Shuk.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
Thank you for watching Land of the Bible. I'm David Sussman, your guide here in Israel. Tune in next time as we connect you to the people, places, and land of the Bible.